Hello, my friend. Welcome to this sacred space of relaxation and rejuvenation. Allow me to envelop you in tranquility as we embark on this journey of auditory bliss. Hello, my friend. Today we are transported back to the 8th century in a realm where monks meticulously crafted illuminated manuscripts. The year is 774 AD, and we find ourselves in the historic scriptorium of a renowned monastery. Imagine a room bathed in the soft glow of flickering candlelight, where the only sounds are the rustling of parchment and the gentle scratching of quills on animal skins. This is a place of hushed reverence, where monks dedicated their lives to prayer, study, and the preservation of knowledge. Our tale centers around a humble monk named Alcuin, a man of deep faith and an insatiable thirst for learning. As the sun begins its descent, casting long shadows across the stone floor, Alcuin settles down at his desk, preparing to transcribe ancient texts. Before him lies a pristine sheet of vellum, a high-quality parchment made from the skins of young goats. The surface is smooth and unblemished, ready to become a canvas for Alcuin's quill. With a heart full of purpose, he dips his quill into an iron gall ink, a rich, dark liquid that will bring words to life on the page. The ink, a testament to medieval craftsmanship, is ground from oak galls, a unique substance formed on oak trees by tiny wasp larvae. This laborious process ensures a high-quality ink that will withstand the test of time. As Alcuin begins his work, the scriptorium comes alive with activity. Around him, fellow monks diligently copy manuscripts, their quills dancing across the parchment in a mesmerizing display of calligraphy. The air is thick with the scent of ink and beeswax, creating a sensory experience that transports us back to this bygone era. Alcuin's quill glides effortlessly across the vellum, forming elegant letters that seem to flow from his fingertips. His focus is unwavering as he meticulously reproduces the Latin text before him, each stroke a testament to his skill and dedication. Hours pass in this tranquil setting, broken only by the rhythmic scratching of quills and the occasional murmur of monks. Engaged in animated discussions about ancient lore, the flickering candlelight casts dancing shadows on the walls, creating an ethereal atmosphere that inspires both creativity and contemplation. Outside, the sounds of the medieval world fade away, replaced by the gentle hum of the scriptorium. Alcuin is oblivious to the passage of time, lost in the timeless pursuit of preserving knowledge. Suddenly, a loud crash from outside interrupts the peaceful ambience. Alcuin startles, his quill trembling slightly. The monks around him exchange worried glances, their concentration momentarily broken. In those moments when the outside world intrudes upon this sacred space, Alcuin feels a surge of gratitude for this tranquil haven. He realizes that within these four walls, amidst the scent of ink and the glow of candlelight, he has found a sanctuary where the noise of the world cannot reach him. With renewed determination, Alcuin returns his focus to the text, his quill dancing across the page once more. As the last rays of sunlight fade away, leaving the scriptorium in near darkness, Alcuin's work draws to a close. With a final flourish, he completes the last word. His heart swelling with a sense of accomplishment, he takes a step back to admire his work, the words swimming before his eyes, a testament to his dedication. The scriptorium, bathed in the soft glow of oil lamplight, now takes on an air of mystery. The shadows deepen, creating an atmosphere that is both enchanting and serene. And so our journey through the scriptorium comes to a gentle end. As the night deepens, the monks prepare to depart, their footsteps echoing softly on the stone floor. The scent of ink lingers in the air, mingling with the aroma of beeswax and old books. As we leave the scriptorium behind, we carry with us the echoes of the past, the rhythmic scratch of quills, and the whispered prayers of monks dedicated to their craft. The legacy of their timeless pursuit of knowledge serves as a reminder of the power of human curiosity and the enduring spirit of scholarship. Today, we're going to visit a medieval monastery We wander through its peaceful halls and discover what it was like to live a life of faith in the Middle Ages. Ready? Let's go. We step inside to find Brother Anselm at his work. His quill scratches across the parchment, creating loops and swirls that form words from a sentence, from a page, from a book. Around him, the scriptorium of the monastery is bathed in the warm glow of flickering candles. Parchment rolls hang from a drying rack like banners, whispering stories of knowledge gathered from distant lands. Ink bottles stand in neat rows, holding secrets in hues of midnight and twilight. As we watch, Brother Anselm lifts his quill from the parchment and places it carefully across a smooth stone rest. He leans back on his wooden stool, feeling the grain of the timber beneath his fingertips. The candle beside him has burned lower, its wax pooling gently, a golden glow spilling across the desk. Through the narrow arched window, he can see the night sky, stars scattered like tiny beads of silver sewn across dark velvet. He knows that, outside, the bell tower looms, tall against the heavens, and in just a little while, the bells will toll the hour of Compline, the last prayer of the day, before the monastery falls into deep silence. But for now, he savors these quiet moments. Moments where only the scratching quill and his own breathing fill the vast chamber. Moments where the world feels as though it exists only in ink and parchment. He runs his hand over the smooth page. The parchment, once the hide of a calf, is so carefully prepared that it seems almost like fabric, soft, velvety. In the Middle Ages, such parchment was precious. It could take weeks to prepare, stretched on a wooden frame, scraped and polished with pumice until it was ready to hold words that might endure for centuries. Imagine the patience, the care, the slow rhythm of scraping, smoothing, softening, each stroke as steady as a heartbeat. Even in the making of the page, there was already a kind of lullaby, guiding hands and mind into focus. Now, Anselm gazes at the small jar of ink. It gleams darkly in the candlelight, like a pool of midnight. This ink, he knows, will darken as it dries, sinking into the parchment fibers, turning from bluish gray to deep black. He whispers a quiet blessing over it, as if to honor its role in preserving wisdom. Perhaps you can picture it too. A page slowly filling with script, each line a neat row of rounded letters. The balance, the flow, the elegance of script that is both art and text. There is something soothing in such order, such beauty shaped by a steady hand. Outside the scriptorium, the monastery sleeps. The dormitory holds rows of simple wooden beds, where monks rest in woolen blankets. The kitchen hearth has cooled, though its stones still hold the faint warmth of the day's fire. The cloister garden lies in shadow, its herbs and flowers fragrant even in darkness, lavender, sage, rosemary, and somewhere, in the stillness, water trickles from a fountain. A sound as gentle as breathing, soft, steady, eternal. Brother Anselm closes his eyes, listening. The rhythm of water, the rhythm of his breath, the rhythm of prayer woven into silence. In the hush of the night, these sounds seem to draw together, like threads forming a tapestry. When he opens his eyes again, he gazes at the margin of the page. Here, later, the illuminator will add delicate vines and blossoms, painted with lapis blue, vermilion red, and shimmering gold leaf. Each flower, each leaf, each golden spark will breathe life into the page, turning words into a garden of light. Imagine those colors, rich blues ground from lapis lazuli, carried across deserts from Afghanistan to Europe, reds drawn from cinnabar and madder root, greens from verdigris, made by suspending copper over vinegar, and gold. Sheets of gold so thin they tremble with the slightest breath, laid carefully with a brush, then burnished until they glow. It is said that when sunlight struck those illuminated pages, the gold would shimmer as though heaven itself had been captured on parchment. And here, even by candlelight, Brother Anselm can already picture the shimmer of eternity, waiting to be unveiled. He smiles faintly, dipping his quill again. Scratch, scratch, scratch. The sound fills the hall once more. Each letter is both an offering and a meditation. Each word carries the weight of devotion. And as we listen to the rhythm of the quill, perhaps we feel ourselves becoming calmer, more focused, as if the very act of watching, of listening, draws us into the peaceful rhythm of the scriptorium. Far beyond the monastery walls, the world outside is not so calm. The year is marked with struggles, harvests that rise and fall, roads where merchants travel under watchful eyes, kingdoms shifting with wars and alliances. But within these walls, there is sanctuary, a place where words are preserved, where wisdom is written down, where silence holds more power than noise. As you imagine this sanctuary, let yourself feel its peace wash gently through you. The safety of stone walls, the glow of soft light, the rhythm of steady breath and steady writing. Let it cradle you, like a lullaby spun from ink and time. Brother Anselm pauses once more, flexing his hand. He gazes at the small crucifix at the edge of the desk and bows his head for a moment in prayer. But his prayer is not hurried. It is slow, like a whisper carried on a breeze. He prays not only for himself, but for the world outside, for those he will never meet, for the future readers of these very pages. Perhaps, he thinks, centuries from now, someone will read these words. Perhaps they will run their fingers over the same lines, their eyes catching the same golden glimmers, and in that moment, across time, they will be connected. Monk and reader, past and present, joined by ink. He feels calm in that thought, calm in knowing that his quiet labor, his steady writing, may outlast him, may drift gently through history, like a candle flame carried hand to hand. The candle burns lower still. Its flame flickers, casting long shadows that stretch across the stone floor. Brother Anselm knows it will soon be time to rest, but for now, he continues to write, line by line, word by word, until the bell calls. Scratch, scratch, scratch. The sound is steady, soft, unbroken. A lullaby made not of music, but of patience. And as you listen, perhaps you feel your own mind beginning to soften, to slow, as though each scratch of the quill carries away another layer of thought, leaving only stillness, only the very heart of medieval Europe. Nestled amidst rolling hills and whispering forests, stood a great monastery. Within its hallowed halls, a small band of monks devoted their lives to prayer, study, and the copying of ancient texts. Life here was a cycle of devotion and discipline, of work and contemplation. And now the sun dips below the horizon, leaving the scriptorium bathed in the gentle glow of evening. The silence of the scriptorium is gentle, but now, from beyond the hall, another sound rises, low at first, distant, then fuller, rounder, carrying through the stone corridors. The bell. Its voice rolls through the monastery, like a wave of bronze, deep, sonorous, lingering. It is the call to Conklin, the last office of prayer before sleep. The day is almost done. Brother Anselm lifts his head, listening. The quill pauses in his hand. He breathes deeply, allowing the bell's vibration to fill him. For the monks, bells are not mere sounds. They are the heartbeat of time, the gentle reminder that life is a cycle of prayer, rest, and work. He rises from his seat, carefully setting the quill aside. The ink pot he covers with a small wooden lid to keep it safe from dust. Then he blows gently upon his candle, watching the flame bow and fade into a thin curl of smoke. The scriptorium darkens, but the moonlight through the window glimmers faintly across the rows of empty desks. All is hushed. Only the lingering warmth of candle wax and the faint, metallic tips of ink remain in the air. Brother Anselm steps into the corridor, where shadows stretch long along the flagstone floor. The walls are cool beneath his fingertips as he walks, and the air smells faintly of herbs, rosemary tucked in little bundles above the doors to keep the air fresh. His sandals tap lightly, echoing in a long passage. He passes a narrow window. Outside, the cloister garden rests under moonlight. The fountain glimmers with silver ripples. A gentle night breeze stirs the leaves of sage and lavender, sending their calming fragrance into the air. The whole garden seems to breathe slowly, like a great living heart, at peace. As he approaches the chapel, he hears the soft shuffle of other monks, sandals gathering to. One by one, they arrive from their work or rest, their faces calm, their hoods low, carrying silence with them like a cloak. No words are needed. Only the rhythm of steps, the warmth of presence. They enter the chapel together. Inside, the air is hushed and cool, filled with a faint aroma of frankincense from the earlier prayers. Candles burn low along the altar, their flames small and steady. The light reflects in the polished bronze of the candlesticks and in the faint glimmer of stained glass above. Brother Anselm kneels, his knees settling onto the wooden stall. His hands fold, his breath falls into rhythm with the silence. Compline is a prayer for closure, for rest, for surrender. It is the gentle sigh at the end of the day. And as the monks begin to chant, their voices rise like a single breath shared among many. Imagine the sound, low, melodic, resonant, each voice blending with the others, none standing apart. It is not a song of performance, but of devotion, slow, steady, carrying centuries of tradition. The chant lingers in the stone chamber, echoing softly from arch to arch. The Latin words drift like ripples on a pond. In manus tuas, Domini, commendo, spiritum, meum, into your hands, O Lord, I commend my spirit. The words are simple, ancient, and yet they soothe. Even if one does not understand them, the tone itself carries meaning, peace, surrender, the quiet laying down of burdens. The candles flicker gently, their light glowing warm against a cool stone. Each flicker seems to dance in rhythm with the chant, as though the flames themselves are listening. And as you imagine this scene, perhaps you feel the chant within you too, a soft vibration, a calm echo, a reminder that the day is done, and now is the time to rest, to let go. The prayer continues for a little while, rising and falling like the tide. Brother Anselm's eyes rest upon the crucifix at the altar. But within his heart, his thoughts drift softly, like leaves floating upon water. He thinks of the page left in the scriptorium, the ink drying into permanence. He thinks of the generations before him, monks who had written and prayed and sung in these same halls. And he thinks of the silence to come, the long rest of night where even the monastery breathes deeply in sleep. When the chanting ends, a hush falls once again. Candles are slowly extinguished, their smoke curling upward in gentle spirals, leaving a faint sweetness in the air. The monks bow their heads, then rise in unison, each moving quietly, reverently, as though carrying the silence back with them. Brother Anselm follows, his steps soft, his heart calm. The hallways feel even quieter now, filled only with the faint sigh of night wind through the windows. He makes his way toward the dormitory, where rows of beds await beneath simple woolen blankets. But before he rests, he pauses once more in the cloister garden. The night is so gentle here. The moon has risen higher, silvering the edges of stone arches, glinting off the fountain's water. The lavender sways softly, releasing its calming fragrance into the cool air. He sits on a wooden bench, his hands resting on his knees. The sound of the fountain is steady, like a heartbeat. He breathes deeply, filling his chest with the cool night air, letting it flow out slowly. Above him, the stars are clear and countless. In the Middle Ages, monks often studied the heavens, charting the stars to guide both time and spirit. Brother Anselm gazes upward, and though he knows little of astronomy, he feels the vastness of the sky. Each star a point of light, like tiny candles set in an endless dome. The night embraces him gently, and he closes his eyes. The chant still hums softly in his memory. The scratch of the quill echoes faintly in his ears. All of it blends into a lullaby: the bells, the ink, the garden, the stars. A lullaby that says, "Rest now, let go. Tomorrow will come in its own time." He rises at last and makes his way to his bed. The woolen blanket is coarse but warm. The wooden frame creaks softly as he settles. He folds his hands upon his chest, closes his eyes, and lets the rhythm of breath carry him toward sleep. And the monastery, too, sleeps. Its walls hold the silence. Its stones guard the peace. The ink rests upon parchment, drying into permanence. The stars wheel slowly above, and the world breathes in unison, calm and timeless. The monastery sleeps. Hours drift like clouds across the moon, slow, silent, unhurried. And yet as the night begins to soften toward morning, there comes again a sound. The bell. It is not loud, not jarring. It is steady, measured, like a heartbeat. This is the bell for matins of first prayers of the new day, still held in darkness. When the stars linger and the horizon glimmers with only a hint of light, Brother Anselm stirs in his bed. He rises, his blanket slipping softly from his shoulders. The dormitory is cool, the air touched with the faint scent of wood and wool. All around him, other monks rise as well, each moving in calm silence, each donning their habit with quiet reverence. Sandals shuffle against stone. The monks form a line, each carrying their stillness with them, each lit by a small flame of candlelight as they walk the narrow corridor. Their shadows stretch long across the walls, their heads bowed. The chapel awaits. Inside, the air is dark and cool, heavy with centuries of prayer. Only a few candles glow along the altar, their light small but steady, gilding the carved wood in gold. The monks kneel, and once again, their voices rise in chant soft, steady, like the breathing of the earth itself. This time the words are for beginnings, for the rising of light, for strength to carry through the day. Imagine it, the deep tones blending, rising, falling, echoing through the stone arches. The flicker of flames on stone, the hush of breath between verses. It is both sound and silence at once, a rhythm that cradles the heart. The prayer lasts long into the dark hours, until finally, faintly, the first color touches the eastern sky, a shade of pale gray, softening into blue, and then the faintest glow of rose. When the bells toll again, the monks step out into the cloister. The garden is still cool with dew. The fountain glimmers silver in the half-light. Bird song begins, sparrows and robins calling softly from the hedges, their voices like threads weaving dawn into music. Brother Anselm inhales deeply, the chill air filling his lungs. It carries with it the fragrance of damp earth, lavender touched with dew, and the faintest sweetness of wildflowers beyond the walls. He closes his eyes for a moment. The world is quiet, but alive. Every leaf seems to glisten. Every sound seems softened, hushed, as though morning itself whispers, "Be still, breathe, awaken slowly." The monks move quietly toward the refectory, their dining hall where bread and broth await. The meal is plain, yet warm, prepared with care by hands that serve in silence. The bread is coarse, baked from rye, its crust firm, its scent hearty and grounding. The broth is simple, made from vegetables drawn from the monasteries, gardens. There is no chatter, only the soft clink of wooden spoons, the steady sound of eating, and the faint crackle of a small hearth fire in the corner. Each monk eats slowly, mindfully, savoring the nourishment as though it, too, is a form of prayer. Brother Anselm tastes the bread, feels its warmth against the chill of dawn, and feels gratitude settle in him, like sunlight beginning to touch the earth. After the meal, the monks disperse to their tasks. Some tend the gardens, their hands brushing gently through soil and leaves. Others mend clothing, wash linens, or sweep the long halls. The monastery is alive with quiet industry, every task done with calm, patient rhythm, and Brother Anselm returns to the scriptorium. The great hall is now touched with morning light. Through the tall, narrow windows, beams of golden sun stretch across the desks, laying bright paths on the stone floor. The air smells fresher now, touched by the open sky, but still carries the fragrance of wax and parchment. Brother Anselm approaches his desk. There lies the page he left the night before, the ink now dry, dark, permanent. He runs his fingers lightly over it, feeling the faint texture where the quill had pressed into the skin. It is as though the parchment itself now breathes with words, as though the letters have become part of its body. He sits, dips his quill once more, and the scratching begins again. But now, with morning light, the work feels different. It is not just an act of devotion. It is also part of the living day. The scratch is joined by the faint sounds of bird song through the windows, by the footsteps of brothers moving about their duties, by the hum of the monastery awakening. The words form line by line, each one as steady as a breath. Some words are scripture, others commentary. All are written with the hope that they will last that long after he is gone. The wisdom carried in ink will still speak. At the far end of the scriptorium, the illuminator begins his work as well. Brother Hugo, older and slower in step, sits before his desk with brushes and pigments. His hands, though lined with age, are steady as he mixes colors in small shells. Blue from lapis, red from vermilion, green from verdigris, gold leaf ready to gleam. He hums quietly as he works, a sound so soft it blends with the scratch of quills. His brush moves gently, laying vines and blossoms in the margins, filling the spaces left by the scribes. With each stroke, the page transforms from text to tapestry, words woven with gardens of light. Brother Anselm glances over at him, smiling faintly. It is a reminder that though the work is solitary, it is never lonely. Each hand contributes, each breath joins the other. Each page is a shared act of devotion. The sun climbs higher, its rays warming the stone walls, gilding the dust that drifts lazily in the air. The scriptorium glows softly, alive with light and silence, a place where time itself seems to move more slowly. And in that glow, the monks continue their work steady, patient, calm. The ink flows like water, the brushes dance like whispers, the parchment breathes with new life. It is a rhythm as old as centuries, a rhythm that cradles all who enter in its arms. And as you picture it now, perhaps you feel that rhythm within you too. The steady pace of breath, the soft glow of light behind closed eyes, the calm that says, here, in this moment, all is well. Let us return now to our scriptorium, where Brother Anselm and his fellow monks have been faithfully transcribing ancient texts. Imagine it's another day. The morning grows brighter, spilling its light into every corridor of the monastery. Shadows shorten, beams of gold stretch long across the cloister garden, and the air fills with a harmony of sounds, birds calling, sandals tapping softly, the fountain flowing with its eternal whisper. Brother Anselm writes on, his quill moving in steady arcs and curves. Yet today, a change comes. Today, the monastery gates have opened to travelers. It was common, in the Middle Ages, for monasteries to welcome pilgrims, merchants, and weary wanderers. Their thick stone walls not only guarded knowledge, but also offered rest, shelter, and bread to those in need. And so, this morning, a small group has arrived. At the gates, a pilgrim leans heavily on his staff, his cloak travel-worn, his sandals dusty from many miles. Beside him walks a woman with a basket, carrying herbs she hopes to offer in exchange for food, and trailing behind them, to children eyes wide, curious gaze up at the high walls with awe. The porter greets them quietly, ushering them inside. They are led to the guest house, a simple hall with wooden benches, a hearth, and loaves of bread set out with bowls of broth. For the weary, it feels like abundance. The children's laughter, soft as it is, drifts through the stone corridors like a new kind of music. Brother Anselm hears them faintly from the scriptorium. It is rare to hear voices other than the monks within these walls, and the sound brings a warmth to his heart. He remembers, faintly, his own childhood before he entered the cloister, memories of fields, of family, of simpler days. And though that life is far behind him, the echo of it stirs softly, like a gentle breeze. The abbot, a tall man with calm eyes, leads the pilgrims through the cloister after their meal. As he explains the garden, the fountain, and the chapel, the children tug eagerly at his sleeves, whispering questions. Their wonder is bright, unrestrained, a contrast to the monk's quiet rhythm. And yet, the abbot smiles, answering with patience, as though their laughter itself were a kind of prayer. Eventually, the group is brought to the scriptorium. The abbot gestures with pride. Here, he says softly, is where knowledge is tended like a garden. Here is where the monks plant seeds that may grow for centuries. The pilgrims step inside, their eyes adjusting to the cool hush of the hall. They see rows of desks, shelves lined with manuscripts, the gleam of pigments, the quiet focus of men bent over parchment. The children gasp when they see the illuminator at work, his brush laying down shimmering gold that catches the light like captured sunlight. They press closer, eyes wide, their small breaths fogging faintly in the cool air. Brother Hugo chuckles softly, lifting his brush just a little to show them. He does not speak, but the look in his eyes is gentle, kind. The children's awe fills the room like a blessing. Brother Anselm continues his writing, but he listens. He hears the soft murmurs of the abbot explaining the ink, the parchment, the labor of copying sacred texts. He hears the pilgrims' quiet gasps, their wonder at the richness of colors, the beauty of letters. One child whispers, "Do the words stay forever?" And the abbot answers softly, "Yes, my child. If we care for them, they will last longer than stone. They will last longer than we do." That truth settles over the hall like a hush. Even the pilgrims, weary from travel, seem to breathe more slowly, as though the thought itself is a comfort. After some time, the group departs, leaving the monks to their work once more. But the echo of their presence lingers: laughter, awe, gratitude. The scriptorium feels warmer for it, as though the sunlight itself has deepened. Brother Anselm dips his quill, writes another line, and reflects on the pilgrim's question. Do the words stay forever? He thinks of manuscripts hundreds of years old, preserved in libraries. He thinks of voices carried across centuries by parchment and ink. And he feels a deep peace in knowing that his small work, his quiet effort, may one day be read by eyes he will never meet. The day wears on, and the monastery begins its slow exhale toward evening. The sun, high and golden at midday, now leans westward. Its light grows warmer, softer, painting the cloister arches with amber glow. Shadows stretch across the garden paths, and the fountain gleams like liquid fire beneath the fading sky. For the pilgrims, the day has turned toward journey's end. Their baskets are a little full of bread for the road, herbs gifted from the garden, and their hearts lighter from rest. The children wave, their small hands flashing in the sun, before stepping once more onto the dusty road. The porter closes the gate gently behind them, and the monastery sinks back into its familiar hush. Inside, Brother Anselm remains in the scriptorium. The day's writing has filled several pages, neat lines of rounded letters flowing like rivers of ink across the parchment. But his hand grows weary now. He sets down his quill, covers the inkpot, and leans back upon the wooden bench, stretching his shoulders. The hall is quiet. Only Brother Hugo still works, burnishing a patch of gold until it glimmers like captured sunlight. The others have gone to their evening tasks, or to prayer, or to the gardens before dusk. The silence deepens, and Anselm's mind drifts, not outward to the garden, but inward, into memory. He remembers his life before these walls. It feels distant now, as though belonging to another person, yet the images remain clear. A small village by the river. The smell of bread baking in his mother's hearth. The laughter of children running through fields of barley. The voice of his father, strong and gentle, teaching him the Psalms by firelight. He had been but a boy when he first came to the monastery, his heart uncertain yet eager. He remembers the long road, here narrow paths through woods, the sound of his sandals upon stones, the cold bite of dawn. He remembers the first time he saw the monastery walls rise before him, tall and gray against the sky, both daunting and welcoming. He had been afraid at first. The silence of the monks seemed overwhelming, the vast halls echoing with footsteps like whispers of another world. But slowly, he grew into it. The rhythm of bells became his own rhythm. The scratch of quills became his own voice, and the stillness once heavy became his refuge. As he remembers, Brother Anselm lets out a slow, steady breath. It drifts into the air like incense, carrying with it both longing and peace. He knows he will not leave these walls. His path is set, his life entwined with ink and prayer. Yet in memory, the outside world remains a gentle echo, not a wound, but a lullaby reminding him of why he chose this life. For in the silence of the monastery, he carries those memories as treasures, written not on parchment, but upon his soul. The sun lowers further. The windows of the scriptorium glow orange, then rose, then deepen into violet as dusk arrives. Shadows climb the stone walls, filling the corners with coolness. The faint call of a nightbird echoes from the fields beyond. Brother Hugo closes his pigments, covers his brushes, and nods softly to Anselm before leaving the hall. Now Brother Anselm is alone. Alone with ink, parchment, and the deepening hush of twilight. He rises and walks slowly to the window. Outside, The sky is a canvas of fading light, blue melting into purple, streaked with the last gold of the sun. The garden lies quiet, its herbs swaying gently in the evening breeze. The fountain glimmers faintly, silver now instead of fire. He leans against the cool stone of the window frame, his hands resting upon it, and as he gazes outward, he thinks not of tasks or duties, but of time itself. How it flows like ink upon parchment, each day a line, each year a page. How the monastery stands like a book upon the land, each monk a letter, each prayer a word. It comforts him, this thought, that his life is not separate, but part of something greater. A story written slowly, carefully, in which even silence has meaning. The bells toll again vespers, the prayer of evening. Their sound is lower now, gentler, as though softened by the dusk. Brother Anselm listens, then makes his way to the chapel once more. The monks gather, their figures cloaked in shadow and candlelight. Their voices rise and chant, echoing softly through the arches. The words are for thanksgiving, for the light of day, for the gift of work, for the promise of rest. The chant fills the chapel, low and steady. The flames flicker, dancing upon the carved stone, and as Anselm sings, his voice blending with the others, he feels again the deep rhythm that carries all life within these walls. When the chant ends, silence descends once more. The monks bow their heads, then disperse into the soft night. Some walk in the garden, others return to their work. And Brother Anselm, heart calmed, returns to his desk. Night settles. The scriptorium glows with only a single candle now, its light trembling gently, casting long shadows across the desks. The ink shimmers faintly in its pot. The parchment rests, its letters gleaming softly in the golden light. Brother Anselm dips his quill once more. Scratch, scratch, scratch. The sound begins again, steady as a heartbeat, soft as rain upon leaves. Outside, the wind stirs through the cloister arches. The fountain sings its eternal song. And above, the stars begin to gather points of silver, threading their way across the dark sky. The world is hushed. The night is calm. And in this silence, words are treasures, each one laid down with care, each one carrying the promise of the hushed stillness of a moonlit night. Amidst the slumbering cloisters of an ancient monastery, there lived a monk named Anselm, renowned for his unwavering faith and dedication to his craft. Anselm's days were spent in the sacred scriptorium, painstakingly copying ancient texts, preserving their wisdom for posterity. But as the years passed, a shadow of weariness crept into his heart. The vibrant colors of youth seemed to fade, replaced by the somber hues of dusk. And with each passing season, the words swam before his eyes, mocking his waning strength. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the scriptorium, Anselm laid down his quill. The flickering candlelight danced in his tired eyes, reflecting the turmoil within. For he had reached a point of exhaustion, not just in body, but in spirit. The monastery, usually a sanctuary of tranquility, echoed with the unsettling sounds of his own despair. It seemed that even the hallowed halls could sense his inner turmoil. Just when his resolve threatened to crumble, a profound calm washed over him. The candle burns low. Its flame is small now, trembling as though breathing with the scriptorium itself. The light bends and sways, casting shadows that shift like gentle waves upon the walls. Brother Anselm's hand slows, his eyes grow heavy. The words on the parchment blur softly before him, the lines shimmering as though they were alive. He lays down his quill, rests his hand upon the wooden desk, and lets his breath deepen. The silence is vast, yet not empty. It is filled with the faint rustle of night wind through the cloister, the distant splash of the fountain, the soft murmur of leaves beyond the walls. The monastery sleeps, and slowly, so too does Anselm drift. In his half-dream, the letters upon the page begin to move. At first a shimmer, then a ripple. The ink glows faintly, as though lit from within. The letters rise from the parchment like tiny birds, their wings dark as ink, yet shimmering with silver. They lift into the air, circling above his desk, each leaving a faint trail of light. Their flutter is silent, soft as moths, yet it fills the scriptorium with a presence that is both wondrous and calm. Brother Anselm, in his dream, gazes upward in awe. He feels no fear, only a deep peace, though this is what words have always wanted to do, to take flight. The letters drift higher, toward the windows. Through the glass, they pass, melting into the night sky. And as they rise, they transform into stars, tiny points of silver light that scatter across the heavens. Anselm steps to the window in his dream and gazes upward. The sky is no longer dark, but alive, filled with constellations made of words. Verses form among the stars, lines of scripture glowing faintly across the dome of night. It is as though heaven itself has become a book, and the stars its ink. The dream carries him deeper. He finds himself walking through the cloister garden, though it feels different now. The fountain no longer sings with water, but with word streams of letters flowing upward, spilling like silver rain into the air. The lavender and sage shimmer with golden script along their leaves, as though every herb whispers its own prayer. The children from earlier in the day appear too, laughing softly, their laughter forming into shape spirals of words that drift like fireflies. They run barefoot across the garden, chasing letters that float like petals, catching them in their hands, releasing them again into the sky. The monks pass silently along the paths, their hoods low. But where their sandals touch the stones, words bloom like flowers, tiny glowing syllables that vanish again as they step. It is a world where language has become breath, light, and life. Brother Anselm follows the fountain stream of words upward. It carries him into the sky, where the stars swirl in constellations that shift and turn. One constellation forms into the shape of a quill, another into a great book, another glimmers into the shape of a key. He drifts among them, floating as though upon a gentle current. The stars hum softly, a sound like chant, but slower, vaster, a song that seems to cradle the entire world. The constellations rearrange themselves into lines of prayer. Peace upon the weary, light upon the dark, rest upon the restless. Each line drifts slowly across the sky, glowing and fading, like lullabies sung by the heavens themselves. And Anselm's heart, which had grown heavy with weariness, found solace in the celestial symphony. The rhythm of the universe echoed the cadence of his soul, reminding him of a truth he had long forgotten. The peace he sought was not a distant shore to be reached, but a wellspring that flowed from the depths of existence. And in this realization, the scriptorium faded, the candle flame flickered, and the dream song swelled until it embraced all, enveloping him in its timeless embrace.